Morning. How's everybody doing? Happy Monday. Thank you all for being here. We are grateful that you would take the time. I'm honored to be joined by colleagues here in the state Senate, Democrats and Republicans alike, to announce a new bipartisan Senate policy package to address two significant challenges facing every community here in the Golden State: the fentanyl crisis and retail theft and community-based crimes. This morning, if you're looking for catchy sound bites on fentanyl and retail theft, you're in the wrong place. But if you're looking for a sound approach to be able to improve the life of everyday Californians, this is the place to be. Senate Democrats and Senate Republicans are setting aside politics and coming together to advance a data-driven policy solution package. We're calling it the Safer California Plan. This plan is going to help address the challenges that impact countless individuals and families in the Golden State related to the fentanyl crisis and theft. There are two parts to the Safer California Plan that we'd like to be able to outline today. And I want to start talking about our comprehensive approach to combating the fentanyl crisis. Then we're going to talk about retail theft and community-based crimes. First, on fentanyl. So many families have been impacted by addiction here in California, and this includes mine. And Californians deserve better than endless arguing. They deserve better than easy answers and empty promises. The Senate has spent 9 months focusing on the crisis through our fentanyl working group. We dove deep into the causes, the issues, and the solutions surrounding this crisis. And I want to thank the members of that working group who are here today: Senator Wahab, Senator Skinner, Senator Umperk, Senator Eggman, Senator Rock, and Senator Lehman. They have been amazing in this pursuit to be able to solve this crisis. And I also want to say thank you so much to Senator Ochoa Vogt for leading the Republican effort as well. It's so good to see you. These group of dedicated senators met with all sides of the crisis over these past 9 months. We met with healthcare professionals. We met with local and federal law enforcement, the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. We met with community health centers and hospital leaders and addiction specialists. The experts that we heard from emphasize the best way to stop this fentanyl crisis, and they couldn't have been more clear. We need more prevention and increased access to addiction treatment. Here's what we know. Addiction and substance abuse have always had a destructive impact on families and communities here in the Golden State and throughout the United States of America. But the introduction of deadly fentanyl has had an exponential impact, and no one is spared, no matter your background. According to the latest available numbers, there are more than 12,000 drug overdose deaths a year in the Golden State. More than half of them related to fentanyl. And it is disproportionately impacting underserved communities in California. Black and Latino Californians have seen a 200% increase in drug overdose deaths since 2017. In Native American communities, 150% increase in overdose deaths in that same period. In our rural communities on the North Coast, where I proudly hail from, the Hoopa Valley tribe, they face a fentanyl death rate 8 times greater than the state average. And they're not alone. And that is why we are here today. Let's be clear. The legislature and the governor have been moving with speed to combat this crisis in the last few years. We've allocated more than $1 billion in California, more than $1 billion over the past 3 years, that is focusing on expanded enforcement, expanded public health resources, and community-based education programs. This includes an investment of $30 million over 2 years to the Counter Drug Task Force. That's comprised of the California National Guard, local law enforcement, and federal law enforcement. And they have been hard at work together, stopping drug trafficking and transnational crime organizations in our state and at our border. In 2022 alone, the task force was able to recovered $969 billion worth of illegal street drugs. And a staggering 20% of that was fentanyl. That's over 18,000 pounds of fentanyl, which amounts to hundreds of millions of lethal doses. We've also distributed at the state life-saving naloxone to schools and to first responders, tribal communities, community organizations. And by distributing that widely, we have been able to save 250,000 lives by reversing overdoses, thanks to the effort that this state and these state leaders who are here with us today have taken. We've expanded access to treatment in our most rural areas of our state and in urban communities. And our Medi-Cal program now provides for detox and treatment for the most vulnerable residents. And it's about damn time. In addition, we've increased penalties on fentanyl dealers. Last year, we passed a law that increases criminal penalties on fentanyl traffickers from 3 to 25 years, depending on how much was trafficked. This is in addition to the existing felony crimes for fentanyl in manufacturing, transportation, and sale. The Senate's Safer California Plan on fentanyl is evidence-based, and it focuses on 3 key policy areas. Number 1, increasing access to treatment. Number 2, enhancing addiction services for those individuals in the criminal justice system to be able to stop the recidivism rate we see throughout the state on drug offenses. And number 3, it penalizes fentanyl trafficking of xylazine, which is a horse tranquilizer now being laced in fentanyl across this country and right here in the state of California. Now, I'd like to be able to switch to the issue of retail theft and community-based crimes. All of us here today work within communities impacted by retail theft. Too many small businesses and larger retail stores are being hit, and it needs to stop. Too many shoppers and store personnel are being put in harm's way. In the Safer California Plan, we go after retail theft by cracking down on professional thieves, making it harder to sell stolen goods online. We strengthen tools for law enforcement to make arrests and prosecute brazen criminal activity. Our plan builds on more than $100 million of investments we've made in the last several years to help law enforcement take on retail theft. I'd like to outline some of that. Since 2022, the state of California has invested, thanks to this bipartisan group of legislators who are here today, $85 million for local police to go after retail theft and community-based crimes. We have a permanent $6 million in ongoing funding for the California Highway Patrol to be able to assist local law enforcement to crack down on retail theft and community-based crimes, and $10 million over the last 3 years to assist prosecutors. The Safer California Plan, it builds on those efforts. It strengthens our commitment to keep our communities safe. I want to start wrapping up and turn it over to Senator Wahab, but I'd like to say this. None of these theft bills, none of the theft bills would mean revisions to Prop 47, even though strategic enhancements would be implemented on specific retail and community-based crimes. The Safer California Plan advances an approach that we desperately need. That is a balanced approach, and that's what the majority of Californians want. And don't take my word for it. Recent polling shows us that half of all Californians want more resources to be able to combat the fentanyl crisis, and they want some increased penalties on retail theft. Half of all Californians. 22% want to enact just increased penalties. Another 22% just want to enact resources into expanded treatment programs. We're working on these new legislative proposals in partnership with the governor's office, and I want to say thank you so much to Governor Newsom for his steadfast leadership on both of these issues. He's taken them seriously and continues to advance resources into all communities in every corner of California. And I also want to say thank you to Speaker Rivas and the Assembly. As you know, the Assembly have other bills that will strengthen laws on retail theft, and we're grateful for their leadership. Speaker Rivas and I, we are in constant contact on the shared legislative priority, and we're going to be working together with the leaders who you see on this stage today, with leaders in the Assembly in the months to come, to get solutions across the finish line. These are California values. These are California values. And they are what's behind the bills in this package. The steps that we've taken in the past, and I hope every step forward we take on this in the future. There are too many lives at stake. Together, Democrats and Republicans, we're going to build a safer California. I'm going to take questions here in just a few moments. We would like to be able to turn it over to some of the policy experts who've been working so hard on this over the past 9 months. I now would like to welcome Contra Costa County District Attorney Diane Becton. She is a tremendous law enforcement leader in our state, and we're grateful that she is here today. She's going to be offering some words on the Safer California Plan. Madam DA, it is so good to see you. Thank you so much for being here, and I don't mean to catch you with both hands full. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pro Tem McGuire. It is encouraging to be here with all of you today. I served, just a little bit of background about me, I served as a judge in Contra Costa County for 22 years before I was elected to serve as district attorney. I have seen a lot of hurt, a lot of harm, and a lot of tragedy. I have prosecuted, along with the team in Contra Costa County, criminals who commit serious and violent crimes, and I've also listened to families whose loved ones have been taken too soon. I've seen firsthand the need to reimagine our approach to criminal justice, to re-examine and reapproach it through a lens of racial and socioeconomic disparity with an eye to restorative justice programs and rehabilitation programs for nonviolent offenses. Californians want a justice system that works for everyone. We want solutions for both the fentanyl crisis and retail crime issue, both of which are taking a toll on our communities and families. And that's what this legislative package helps create. It is taking a thoughtful, evidence-based approach to fentanyl and also enacting measures that would help blunt community-based crime and strengthen our ability to prosecute brazen criminals who are harming businesses and ending community safety. 3 years ago in Contra Costa County, over 90 people mobbed a Nordstrom's in Walnut Creek. They streamed in through separate entrances and strategically parked over 24 vehicles in front of the store to block emergency personnel. Then with crowbars and hammers and even a gun, they staged a violent flash mob style retail theft. For the store, it was costly. For the employees and the people of Walnut Creek, it was terrifying. And sadly, we are continuing to see these bold, organized thieves attempting to wreak havoc. But it needs to stop. And the Senate's proposal is the kind of strategic approach we need so that we can hold the ones who are harming our communities accountable, while also not relying simply on incarceration as a one-size-fits-all solution to public safety. We can take action now to make our communities safer and help those who need help with addiction to get the resources that they need as well. We can reimagine our approach to justice, and it's certainly encouraging to see that happening here with this package of legislation. I want to thank you for having me here today, and now I'd like to turn it over to Senator Wahab, Chair of the Senate's Committee on Public Safety. Thank you.
Thank you, D.A. Becton. Thank you, Pro Tem McGuire. I'm Senator Aisha Wahab, Chair of the Senate Public Safety and a Bay Area member. The news reports of retail theft devastating communities across California have become a weekly, sometimes daily occurrence. All types of businesses are impacted. Small mom and pop shops, big box stores, and high-end retailers, affecting communities and people of color. Some business owners are relocating or closing their doors because they cannot recuperate the lost profits or damage done. Yet the highly organized groups at the root of these disturbing crimes don't make the news nearly as often. Organized retail theft and organized retail crime has aggressively spread, and it requires urgent solutions. While shoplifting saw a decrease during the COVID-19 pandemic, commercial burglary saw a sharp and sudden increase. From 2019 to 2022, commercial burglary increased by 15.7%, and in 2020 became a more commonly reported retail crime than shoplifting. That, coupled with the increasing reliance on online retail, created a challenging landscape for businesses and law enforcement. The bills we are announcing today in the Senate plan are aimed at stemming the rising tide of retail theft here in California and prioritizing the rights of victims first and foremost. This legislation aims to enhance and protect Californians and businesses' quality of life through strategic increases of specific penalties. Some of the highlights of the plan include increasing penalties for and disrupting organized crime, cracking down on the sale of stolen goods in online marketplaces, deterring repeat offenders, and cementing our commitment to tackle organized crime by making the law on organized retail theft permanent. This effort is in partnership with the Governor's Office and in collaboration with our Assembly colleagues who have their own package of bills to help deter retail theft. Here in the Senate, we are proud to advance the Safer California plan, and we are committed to working on these legislative solutions throughout this year's session and delivering sound and solid policy to the Governor's desk. These are timely and urgent solutions that our business communities and communities as a whole need now. They cannot wait. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce Senator Roth.
Good morning, I'm Richard Roth, and I'm chair of the Senate's Health Committee. And I want to thank Pro Tem McGuire for inviting me to speak on this issue today, and for his leadership on the fentanyl working group, which has been doing, as he said, a deep dive and careful examination of the next steps that California can take to address this fentanyl crisis. Fentanyl is the latest in an opioid crisis that has been plaguing our country for decades, and it is decidedly the most dangerous. It's easily produced in labs and probably in garages, and it's more powerful, more addicting, and more dangerous than other opioids. Sadly, over 150 people die every day from overdoses related to synthetic opioids like fentanyl. As a former Air Force officer, my sense of duty extends even beyond the general public in this great state to our men and women who serve our great country. And the military is not immune to the rising fentanyl crisis. Parents of soldiers and other military members are not exempt from the fear that their child, their young person, could die from a fentanyl overdose. I remember reading an article in the Washington Post last year that stated that the Army lost 127 soldiers to fentanyl between 2015 and 2022. Incredibly, that's more than the number of military personnel killed in combat during that same time. So with my military background, this is very, very personal to me. Some of you know me, I'm results-oriented. I wouldn't be supporting this approach, the approach we're proposing today, if I didn't think it could get the job done. When we say that many of these policies are evidence-based, we mean it. We've spent months meeting with the nation's top experts, and they agree that expanding treatment is more effective in reducing crime and addiction than incarceration. Yes, we need to be tough on crime, and law and order is important. But if we want long-term results, we need to rely on what's working, not temporary fixes. Doing the right thing is often not the easiest thing to do, but doing the right thing is 100% what we need to do in this case. And the right thing is to look at the problem of substance abuse as a whole and build support systems for those who are suffering. And we've done that in this working group. This package of bills focuses on what has been proven to work and has been guided by research and recommendations from experts, not headlines on cable news. And what works is offering people resources, education, and getting people access to programs that will help them get better. Studies show the vast majority of people will accept treatment when it is easy to access and offered in a convenient location. This is why our approach is to intercept people where they are, in emergency rooms, jails, prisons, courts, and connect them to treatment and do it now. We also have proposals to provide rapid testing, to speed referrals to treatment, to incentivize more medical providers to treat addiction, to expedite the construction of treatment sites, and increase the number of medical and behavioral health workers. People with substance abuse disorders need treatment, not punishment. And drug use disorders should be approached with a demand for high-quality care and compassion for those affected. Let me be clear. California already lets us throw the book at drug dealers and traffickers, and we should do so in appropriate cases. What we're proposing here, though, is a new chapter for those suffering from addiction. It's the right approach, and I'm proud to support it. This is also just the beginning. We don't plan to stop working on this issue until our state, this great state, is safer. We will continue to work with experts, with healthcare workers, academics, law enforcement personnel, those who operate substance abuse programs, and families as these bills move forward. Beyond this package of bills, we will continue to build this coalition and continue to work together for a safer California. Thank you again for having me. I'm going to turn it over at this point in time to Dr. Amy Mullen, Professor of Emergency Medicine at UC Davis. Doctor?
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Dr. Amy Mullen. I'm an emergency physician, also chief of our Division of Addiction Medicine. As an emergency physician, my experience with patients and families suffering from substance use and experiencing overdose has made me a staunch advocate of rapid access to low barrier treatments and meeting people where they are with these services. The alarming and rapidly increasing rates of fentanyl-related overdose is unprecedented. It's devastating to patients, to families, and to our communities. It's especially devastating to the families who we have watched lose their loved ones all too early and lose them in an instant. As a state, we can do better. As a healthcare worker, it is hard to watch so many people, young people, suffering with substance use disorders, and to have those families lose those young people far too early. Not having the tools to help to make a difference takes a toll on our healthcare system as well. We can and we must do better. As an addiction medicine physician, I could tell you statistics, but you all know this. The rising and unprecedented toll of addiction across our state has been devastating. The bottom line is we have all been impacted, and we need to act urgently across the state and across the nation. With overdose death rates at levels never seen before in California, urgently providing hospitals, healthcare workers, and emergency departments the tools to support patients and navigate them to care is absolutely critical. It gives us the tools in the emergency department to help people when they need it and where they need it. What I have learned from my experience as an emergency physician, most people want help. When I ask them if they want help, most people say, yes, I do, now, today. Just very few people know where to start or how to access the treatment system. New research published in JAMA Open underscores the significant role of emergency departments in reducing overdose deaths. The study found that people with opioid use disorder were twice as likely to continue to receive treatment if it was started in the emergency department. These findings reinforce the emergency department as a critical access point to highly effective, life-saving treatments for medications for addiction treatments and ongoing care. And it's not just our emergency departments that can reach people and offer low barrier access to treatment. Jails, youth centers, and healthcare centers. The list goes on. This is why I'm here today to support the legislative package the California Senate is proposing today. This past summer, I, along with other experts in addiction treatment, met with the fentanyl work group to discuss evidence-based approaches to expand treatment and save lives. We know how to address this crisis. Rapid access to low barrier treatment works. It is the only way to address the epidemic to have lasting and meaningful impact for people and for our communities. I am thrilled to see so many of these policies focused on treatment. It is hard to do the right thing, but it is important. We all need to continue to listen to each other, to learn from each other and from people who are experiencing the most harms from substance use to tackle this crisis together. And we will continue to work together for a safer and healthier California. Thank you for having me, and I'd like to turn it over to Pro Tem McGuire.
Doctor, thank you so much, and thank you for your consultation and your work with us over these past many months. We couldn't be more grateful. Ladies and gentlemen, these two issues transcends politics. It impacts every community, no matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat. And I want to welcome our Republican leader, Brian Jones, to the podium and say thank you for your partnership on this package, on these package bills.
Good morning. I want to first off start by saying that I agree with former Senate Republican Minority Leader Ken Maddie when he said that the most impactful and enduring policies are bipartisan in nature. For years, Senate Republicans have been calling for action on the fentanyl and retail crisis plaguing our state. We are pleased to see Pro Tem McGuire lead the Senate and to act on these important issues early in his tenure. Thousands of Californians, including kids, are dying from fentanyl poisoning every year, and the number continues to climb at alarming rates. Fentanyl is destroying the lives of too many, and something must be done. Here with us today is Republican Senator Rosalía Ochoa Vogt, who has been on the forefront fighting for common sense bipartisan solutions to tackle fentanyl crisis for years. She has been working tirelessly in a compassionate and tenacious manner to move these issues forward and make sure that they are heard by the Senate. I am encouraged that 2 of her fentanyl bills are included in the legislative package that we are announcing today. Today's package also includes legislation on retail theft. As everyone knows, California is battling a major steep increase in retail theft since the passage of Prop 47. In fact, California retail lost $8.72 billion to theft in 2022 alone. We must hold repeat professional thieves accountable. While we are still reviewing the specifics of the legislative package, we are optimistic about the proposals here today. Over the next few months, Senate Republicans are eager to collaborate with our Democrat colleagues and ensure these bills are effective and meaningful and continue to work in a bipartisan manner to fix California and make California safer. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Leader. I'd like to be able to offer some closing remarks, and we'll open it up for questions, and then Fritz will throw a chair at me when she says I'm taking 2 minutes. In all seriousness, I want to say thank you so much for each of you being here today, especially on a Monday morning, and I promise that we will have coffee for you next time we get together. And at the risk of repeating myself, I want to thank the colleagues who authored these bills today. And it is not every day, especially in these hyper-partisan times in America, where you see Democrats and Republicans standing on the same stage, charging forward together to tackle some of the top issues that are facing the largest and greatest state in America here in California. I want to say thank you to Senators Ashby, Min, Newman, Ochoa Vogt, Roth, Skinner, Umber, Wahab, and Weiner. Their dedication to the months of work that went into this package cannot be overstated, nor can my appreciation for my colleagues' support here in this package today. And I also want to say thank you, special thank you to the Senate Republican leader, Leader Jones, who has been and continues to be a true partner in our effort to improve the quality of life here in California. Senator, thank you. I'm so happy that you are here today. Finally, and I'm going to open it up to each and every one of you. I'd like to extend my gratitude to Speaker Rivas and our Assembly partners. We are lockstep with the Assembly on this critical issue. And I also want to say thank you so much to Governor Newsom for his leadership, for advancing legislation as well. We're grateful for his work. And I know that we're going to continue to work on this package and more in the months ahead. So, ladies and gentlemen, what I'd like to be able to do is obviously open it up to each and every one of you. If it's all right, I'll be point on questions. If you have questions for any of the members who are up here today, and which we're grateful for, please reach out directly to their offices. If you have questions for Madam DA, please reach out to her office directly. If you have questions for the doctor, she stands ready to be able to answer those questions. And before I get in, I want to say thank you so much to Sheriff Luna, who is leading the largest sheriff's office in America. Sheriff Luna is now officially in support of the Senate's Safer California plan, bringing all sides together to be able to move progress forward. Let's open it up right now for folks. Yes, please, sir. Good afternoon. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. Senate Bill 1144, talking about certifying third-party online sellers. How would that work? Is there any other model out there that this might be based on? I know this is in the bill.
Yeah, and Senator Skinner, first and foremost, I want to say thank you to Senator Skinner. She has been a leader on this issue for many years now. This is the next iteration, knowing that we have to go after these large-scale sellers of stolen goods online. So it's going to disrupt the sale of goods by candidly having to look at some type of third-party validation with those online sellers and online marketplaces. Senator Skinner will be able to answer to you directly on this immediately following this press conference, but we're working right now with the Retailers Association and then online marketplaces to be able to establish that self-policing for illicit activity that's happening online. If you talk to law enforcement across this state, law enforcement will say the online marketplaces have become a growing challenge in regards to combating retail theft and community-based crimes, and we need to be able to crack down on that. And I know Senator Skinner will be able to answer specific questions on that bill. Thank you for the question. Yes, please.
And regarding fentanyl, there's a lot of talk about making the treatment more accessible. Is there anything in this package that would affect the supply, that would potentially lessen the supply that's so cheap and readily available?
It's a great question, and that's why what I talked about in my opening remarks. The state of California has invested tens of millions of dollars to be able to crack down on the fentanyl trade at our border, at our ports, and at airports. The Cal National Guard has been deployed to the California-Mexico border to be able to help disrupt illicit activity. Over $900 million worth of illegal street drugs have come off the market thanks to that counter task force that includes the Cal National Guard, local and federal law enforcement. That investment is going to continue. I think that is a bipartisan effort. And so there is no silver bullet in this fentanyl crisis. This is a crisis not just here in California, but throughout the United States of America. And it's going to take a multi-pronged effort to get a crack down on it. And that's why you're going to see California continuing to invest in law enforcement at entry ports that are most vulnerable. Ports, the border, and at airports throughout the state of California. Thank you. Please, good afternoon. Good morning. Why do I keep saying good afternoon?
Good morning.
It's been a long day.
I'm ready for lunch.
I hope I'm feeling this too. This is another question for SB 1144. Third-party sellers. What if this item was sold by a third party to a fourth party, them not knowing that the item was, stolen, in retail or whatever? Would they be accountable too, just as much as the third-party seller? How would that work?
Yeah, look, I think that it is, I'll give you my opinion, and Senator Skinner, if you want to chime in, please, I don't want to steal your thunder on this. But look, here's what the growing trend that we're seeing online. What we're seeing online are individuals that participate in large commercial theft activity, taking millions of dollars worth of stolen goods and advancing online sales directly. We need to be able to go after those individuals. In addition, what we are also seeing are individuals who, like the DA just mentioned, who ransack Nordstrom's. They immediately go and put it on, potentially on one of the online retailers. I'm not going to name the name, but there is an ability to be able to track that illicit activity, and I know that this is something that we are very focused in on, both brick and mortar, those who are selling stolen goods in the street, at flea markets, and we have to also focus on online activity. And I know Senator Skinner will be able to answer specifics here immediately following this press conference. But Senator Skinner, anything else you want to add on this? Please.
The bill SB 301, which was signed into law in 2021, that had the AG create the organized retail theft task force, and also put in regulations around these online sellers. What it did was, so let's say I'm a platform that has a party that sells through my platform. What the original bill did was make that seller prove to me that they have a business license and verify that their goods aren't stolen. But what's happening now, and how SB 301 is people are getting around it, is that you have a lot of marketplaces just being used to advertise. So, okay, I've got a good, I've got this e-bike, for example, I wanna sell it. And it's just an advertisement. Then the sale is done privately. There, the marketplace, under 301, is not required to verify that that advertiser got a business license and is gonna prove that that good is not stolen. What the new bill does is force those regulations and force that marketplace to have to verify that those advertisers of goods are legitimate and their goods are not stolen.
Senator Skinner is coming in. Thank you so much. I just want to say thank you for your incredible work. This is not a flash in the pan bill. This is your continued work on this issue. Really grateful for your leadership in this caucus. Yes, yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Mr. McGuire, good morning. Thanks for taking our questions.
It's good to see
Last year, as you know, Alexander's Law failed to pass out of the Public Safety Committee. Parents were outraged. They came to Sacramento multiple times. Parents who lost their kids to fentanyl. And they saw it as a slap in the face when the Public Safety Committee didn't hear their concerns and didn't pass it. So Mr. Umberg is reintroducing it again this year. Will he be supporting it?
Thank you for the question. So first and foremost, I want to say truly how grateful I am to Senator Umberg. Senator Umberg has spent literally dozens of hours in this work group working with us on this Safer California plan. And I also want to be very clear, he has been a leader in the state Senate on making California safer. And that is why he is a lead author in this plan of a Safer California. So we have talked about those two bills that he has introduced in the Assembly, including a reintroduction of what was SB 44. And that is an issue that we're going to continue to talk about here in the months to come. I'll be very candid with you. We talk about it at least a couple times a month, and I'm grateful for his leadership and know that we'll be working together on those two bills here as the legislative session progresses. Please, thank you.
One more question.
Please.
Yeah, can you talk about Prop 47 and can you share your thoughts on it? Do you feel like it needs to be changed? Obviously, as the minority leader mentioned, people have different opinions on this and how it contributes to retail theft, et cetera. But what do you think as the county?
Thank you. It's good to see you. I really appreciate you being here this morning. Thank you so much. I believe in this Safer California plan, and I believe it strikes a balance where Californians want to be. In that recent poll that I referenced in my opening remarks, about 50% of Californians, 50%, half of Californians want to see a balanced approach tackling the fentanyl and retail theft crisis. They want us to invest in expanded treatment, and they want to be able to look at targeted enhancements on some of the most egregious crimes. And I'll be the first to say, speaking for myself, that we need to blunt the rising tide of retail theft and community-based crimes. And this is why, candidly, that we are here today. The bills that have been introduced both here in the Senate and candidly in the Assembly will make our community safer through strategic steps to increase penalties. And that's why I also believe that DA Becton is supporting this package of bills. That is why Sheriff Luna, who is representing the largest sheriff's office in America, is supporting these bills. Because these take critical steps to be able to make our community safer. And then I'd like to talk about Prop 47. I want to talk about the past. We cannot forget how horrific the 90s were on communities of color in this state. Governing must also be about learning from our mistakes in the past. And that was a clear mistake. Mass incarceration simply isn't the answer. In fact, we hear from all the experts that it makes addiction even worse. So I do not believe that this state needs to touch Prop 47 to be able to help make our communities safer. Full stop. The bills that we are seeing in front of us today take critical steps to go after those who are perpetuating the retail and community-based crimes in this state and advancing treatment in addition to the hundreds of millions of dollars that we have been investing on the fentanyl crisis. And I'm going to end it right here with this. Anyone that says that they have an easy fix on this issue, candidly, they're selling snake oil. And I want to say thank you so much to the Public Safety Chair, Chair Wahab, who has been very focused on our retail theft and community-based crimes, and I'm sure offline she'll also be able to answer a few questions on that, and thank you for the question. And we're going to just go one more, I think we had in the back, and I know you're going to throw your shoe at me, Fritz. So and I do want to say thank you so much to Fritz. She's fantastic to work with each and every day. I want to acknowledge Eric Dang and Marjorie Schwartz. They have been amazing to work with. Very grateful for all their work, and of course, Rebecca Watsburg and Jason Lyles. Evan, I'm going to turn over to you. You have last words.
Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tempore. Just a very quick question on the back here, just more logistical scheduling wise, perhaps. Just on SB 1416 by Newman, I know he's not on the stage there. It says here that it increases penalties on professional organized retail theft, in particular significant large-scale resale schemes. Now, I did look at the bill online. It looks like it's just a few sentences right now. Just wanted to confirm with you that that's going to, down the road, you'll have more details to share on that specifically as terms to penalties?
100%.
Thank you.
You will see meat put onto that bone here in the coming few weeks. We already have the draft of that, and you'll be seeing that unveiled here in the next few weeks, and I think you'll be impressed with that. Without further ado, I just want to say again, thank you so much for taking time in your busy schedules. Again, I want to apologize that we did not have coffee and sweets for you this morning. The governor told us no coffee and sweets. I don't mean to throw him under the bus. But we'll work out. And I just want to end it and say how grateful I am to these amazing leaders who are here today, along with the doctor and Madam DA and Sheriff Luna, for all their work on this. We wouldn't be here today without a bipartisan effort. And I think it's a breath of fresh air for the rest of America to be able to see how California works. To tackle the tough issues, it takes everybody working together, no matter your political party. Thank you so much for being here today.
Hey Tom, how's it going? Long time no see. Yeah, good to see you. Good to see you too. Will you hear?